Rachel Eliza Griffiths is a multi-talented poet and visual artist. Her work appears ubiquitously. This year she publishes a fourth collection of poetry titled Lighting the Shadow. Her numerous fellowships include Provincetown Fine Arts Work Center, Vermont Studio Center, the Kav Karnam Foundation, and Malay Colony. She teaches creative writing at Sarah Lawrence College.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Before I read some poems, I just want to take a second to extend some gratitude to Quincy, to NYU, to Black Renaissance Noire, and so many of you who I'm here, familiar faces that I'm here in community with, and new faces too. And I'd also like to really thank Jan Garden Castro for her questions and her brilliance and her writing. And I've known Jan for a little over a year now, and continue to give thanks in so many ways for the way that she challenges and observes the world and art within it. So thank you. And I also have to say, Quincy's not here, but it was such a surprise to see the two Elizas on the cover. This was made in 2009, and it looks like this, really, the one that I made, the full picture, and was an ekphrastic visual art kind of poem that was in conversation with Frida Kahlo's Two Fridas, 1939, and also a line of Lucille Clifton's poetry in her poem, Won't You Celebrate With Me, my one hand holding my other hand tightly. And I tried to figure out what that might mean as a photograph for me, as someone who's a visual artist and also a textual artist. And so I just want to say thank you. I'm just going to read the poems that are in the magazine, and again, give my thanks, and hope to talk to some of you later when we have wine and fellowship. So this poem is called Gun Minor, Verses from the Dead Songbook, and it's an excerpt from a longer poem, in Lighting the Shadow, which will be out later this year. And this collection is kind of more of a look at children, American psyche, violence, guns, all kinds of things that are going on in the world, and our relationship to some of those things and all of those things. 1. The bullets in America are not thoughtful. They do not go missing. They are not tied to chairs. They are not held captive in mobile homes. The bullets in America are not walking along the road offering their metal eyes or hungry flesh to strangers. They do not ask for hot lunch or health insurance. The bullets in America are not being sold behind the school. They are not playing games they learned from adults. They do not pray to gods of LED. We do not drain lakes or books to save them. The bullets in America do not bear their captors' children in basements. They are given the blood, our blood they did not ask for, while we rinse our hands in the television box. The shallow static blurring our knuckles, our folded lips. There are endless days upon us, bullets estranging children from the greasy promises we gave them to eat. 2. One day the throat of the sky swallows itself and the rain. Along a grid of memory, long and shapely as a black girl's cheek in Chicago, a word troubles a puddle where the water rolls to blood. We give ourselves too much. 3. I don't want to write the word hope on a headstone. I don't want to count the splinters in a boy's cheek. I don't want to tell my son to leave the hooded sweatshirt at home. 4. Which children remembered they could never be children again? 5. Middle of one morning, I wake up thinking, Hadiyah, Hadiyah, Hadiyah. When did your breathing become less than birdsong? I'm smashed across borderless sidewalks, beak slanted to dead sky. Her favorite color is purple. Tell God Hadia's favorite color is purple. 6. Our mothers sit inside, listening to the radio, ironing all the armor they have always prepared. Empty glass bowls wait for our screams. The silence shatters each day. Our mothers watch, their eyes mutely watching the world's work. Siren-colored schools of fish ripple across skyscrapers. At the ledge of lights, the fathers wait, hands raised like defeated clouds. 7. The eyes of your killers are dry, Hadia. The eyes of your killers are dry. 8. A flag with 26 stars folds over the finish line in Boston. The innocent race, the small desks silent on their sides, shine in American sunlight. 9. My words will start no war. Syllables will only explode the tongue while buffalo kneel and memory assassinates bone. Remember the girl who ran toward us years ago from Vietnam, begging her descendants to promise her skin anything but amnesia. This poem is called The Woman and the Branch. And this poem is dedicated to my mother, who is on my mind and on my heart right now. The Woman and the Branch. My mother gave me her blue bird of happiness. I was young, carried the glass inside of my skin to school. Show us what you have, the world said. I was polishing somebody else's rapture. It wasn't mine. Not my paradise, not my happiness or hers, but oh God, how it shone. I could never tell which bird was singing. I went home like a cantaloupe to its branch. I flew through the leaves away from my childhood. I gave my mother answers I knew. I didn't ask if there wasn't another color. Was blue right after all? Was happiness like a small jewel, heavy enough to be shattered? I couldn't explain the frailty, the way the silent figurine had cracked when I looked through its life. Kept forgetting broken things didn't always hurt. And then the last poem I'd like to read is called December, New Delhi. And there are several sections of poems in my collection that are really focused on women's bodies, women in other countries and continents suffering violence. This poem is based upon the kind of first of a series of rapes in India that were happening. And this poem is about the young medical student who her and her friend got on a bus after seeing a show, and she ended up being raped multiple times. Her friend was also attacked, and she ended up dying. And later on, I think five or maybe it was 9 of them, I think, were sentenced to death. One of them committed suicide while being jailed. But I'm really focused more than ever on women and violence with sex trafficking, sexual violence, women's bodies in relationship to health insurance, hospitals, almost an institutional sort of violence that happens legally, culturally, socially, even through media and technology to women. And I just want to say thank you so much again. December, New Delhi. When the metaphors slide the scalp back to its abyss of bone, when the simile proves like more human than is, when you heard the metal rod striking bone, yes, it is bone. the palate halved, the tongue is starfruit on a bough. Do you look away from the two-legged words in the bus? Do you see a man's hand gripping the wheel, turning the machine into an elegy going nowhere? When the long ride jerks into devastation high as jungle palms and plane trees, when the parrots disappear and nothing, not even air, will beat death into the men who breathe it, when they force her friend to watch, making him beg with a woman's voice, I am begging you. When the scenery, it is the world cut out from flesh, moves inside the body, when the men are inside her body, they do not see their mothers, sisters, daughters standing in the dark, withered stairwell. Later, those mothers will beg the world to spare their sons from execution. Their sobs tear their hair from their own stained scalps. It was no dream. The men lifted themselves like torches through her screams. When they come to believe they are more ether than bruise, yes, I am begging you. I am begging you. I am begging you. When the woman they have eaten carries the likeness of the universe in her belly, they have smeared with the stain of their meat. When the wheel turns away from the paved road, the angels strain like mosquitoes on the windshield. The opal shadows of insects buzz in the skull. When only God may look at the blur within and know there is nothing fast enough beyond those windows, nothing dead enough out there to kill. Thank you.